Councillors, I'll welcome you to the meeting and welcome back after our Christmas and New break. I hope everyone's had a joyous time and a bit of time relaxing. In the event of an emergency, the building may be evacuated. You'll be required to vacate the building by the rear entrance and gather at the breezeway between the library and art gallery buildings. This is Council's designated emergency muster point. Under no circumstances is anyone permitted to re-enter the building until all clear has been given and the area deemed safe by authorised personnel. In the event of an evacuation, a member of council staff will assist any persons present with a disability to vacate the building. Apologies?
Councillor Whitten is an apology this evening and Councillor Duffy will be slightly late.
Can I have a mover that we moved by Councillor Evans, seconded by Councillor Kinghorn. All those in favour? Against? Carried. This council meeting is being live streamed and recorded. By speaking at this council meeting, you agree to be live streamed and recorded. Please ensure that if and when you speak at this council meeting that you ensure that you're respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Orange City Council accepts no liability for defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this council meeting. A recording of this council meeting will be made for administrative purposes. I would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are the traditional custodians of the land. I would also like to pay respect to the elders both past, present of the Wiradjuri nation and extend that respect to other Aboriginal Australians who are present. Does any councillor wish to declare an interest? Councillor Kinghorn.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have to declare pecuniary interests in planning matters 2.2, 2.3 and 2.4. My husband's work has had involvement with all three of these sites and applicants.
Thank you. Any others? We have no registered speakers tonight. There are no mayoral minutes. I'll move on to item number 3, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. Can I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Floyd, seconded by Councillor Mallard. All those in favour? Against? This council will now adjourn for the conduct of the policy committee meetings. I'll be doing Councillor Whitten's. Planning. I'd like to open the Planning and Development Committee meeting at 6:36. With declaration of interest we've heard from Councillor Kinghorn. I'll move on to general reports. 2.1. Items approved under delegated authority of councillor. I have a mover. Moved by Councillor Greenhalgh, seconded by Councillor Peterson. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Kinghorn will be leaving the room. I'll move on to item 2.2, development application DA 278/2023, 1 the Billabong, Clifton Grove. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Power, seconded by Councillor Peterson. Are there any speakers? Being no speakers, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. I'll move on to item 2.3, which is development application DA 275/2023, 25 Waratah Way. Can I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Greenhalgh, seconded by Councillor Floyd. Are there any speakers?
Just have one question. Through you to the director. I may have missed it in the report. I'm just wondering when did that extra building thing arrive there? Do you know how long? You have the actual I know it's been a while, but.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I can't recall a particular date. When I've had a look at it myself, it looks like it's fairly substantial and been there for a while and added on to. So I don't think it's a recent thing. I think there has been a bit of a feud going on for a number of years with neighbours as well as a result of that and other things there.
There being no other speakers, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. Item 2.4, which is development application, lot 15, Hawthorne Place.
Happy to move it.
By Councillor Duffy, seconded by Councillor Miletto. Any other speakers? There being no speakers, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. That concludes our planning and development meeting. I'll call on Councillor Evans to conduct the infrastructure policy meeting.
Councillor Kinghorn needs to come back in, please. Yeah, here she comes. No good.
Let me just adjust myself here. Rightio, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will open the Infrastructure Policy Committee meeting for the 6th of February at 6:35. Are there no declarations of interest for the coming business paper? We'll move on to item 2.1, which is on page 5, the minutes of the Orange Traffic Committee meeting.
Happy to move it.
Councillor Miletto, thank you. Councillor McDonald, thank you. Any discussion on the Traffic Committee minutes?
Just have one question, Mr. Chair.
McDonald.
Just a follow-up question, really, about the line marking that's going to be done in Frost Street outside with the bus bay there at Calais School and stuff. Just wondering if you have a rough timeline on when that work's going to be done.
We'll take that on notice because Mr. Greenham's not here.
Okay.
He might come later in the meeting. Take that on notice. Thank you.
Questions on Councillor Kinghorn?
27, also in relation to the Lord park line marking, but the Lord's Place changes. So 3.
Yep.
Talking about doing it at 60 degrees, which is what I thought being proposed. This particular on page 27, which is 21 of the Traffic Committee, it says 90-degree parking option. I'm just wondering why it says that.
Again, we'll just have... He's on his way. Okay. Can we just wait 30 seconds for the director to turn up, if you would mind? Then we'll come back, Chair, to that first question.
Certainly. Further questions? No further questions. I'll put the motion. All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Carried. Thank you. On to item 3.1, the current works report. Sorry.
Mr. Chair, I haven't voted for that because I'd like to know the answer to my question before I do. So,
Mr. Green, you may as well stay up there. Just at the podium. Councillor Kinghorn's got a question for you.
Okay, thank you.
so just in relation to the Lord's Place line marking, the 60-degree line marking, on the part of the report that's in there, there's a picture on page 27 of the council papers, page 21 of the Traffic Committee, which says Orange City Council Future City 90-degree parking option. I'm wondering why it says that if it's being done at 60 degrees. At page 27 of the...
There's some line marking there that underneath it says 90.
So just underneath that picture, it says Orange City Council Future City 90-degree parking option.
Yeah, that's not correct.
Not correct.
The label's not correct. Yeah,
Okay.
it should say 60 degrees.
All right, good.
Certainly the diagram is consistent with the 60 degrees.
Which is fine, which is why I was confused by the label. Okay. Right.
Councillor Duffy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is to the Director on the same issue of Lord's Place. There's supposed to be a report coming back to Council as regards to Lord's Place. What's been up and where we're up to so far? When is that going to come back to us?
Yeah, I'll take that on notice. I'm still pursuing a number of matters.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald, do you have another question?
It was to do with the Calais line.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Yes, a question about line marking on Frost Street. That was sorry, it was in the traffic committee minutes. Wondering if you have a rough idea of when that might be done.
No, I'll take that on notice as well. Thank you.
No further questions. I'll have the vote again for the minutes of the Traffic Committee. All in favour? Unanimous. Against? Carried. Thank you. 3.1 is page 58 for the current works report. Can someone please move the current works report? Yep. Thank you, Councillor Greenhouse. Councillor Mallard, second. Thank you. Further or questions on the current works report? Councillor Floyd.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just pointing out there on page 65, the current works policy there. We've got the daily water consumption in Orange, and I'd just like to say a very well done to Orange. We're currently running at, by the looks of this, 167 litres per person per day. We're tracking about 30 odd litres per person below the target, and just with water being such a critical infrastructure, I'd just say well done to everyone for keeping these levels down, and let's continue to do that.
Thank you. Further questions? Councillor Greenhouse.
Chair, just want to congratulate all the staff that have been working on the footpath on the NDR. It's being utilised so much. I think it's a great news story, and it's an example of the good things that we are doing, allocating more funds to footpaths so people can move safely around our community. So well done to everyone involved.
Councillor Greenhouse. Further comments on current works? Councillor Duffy.
To the Director, it's about regard to the Southern Distributor. With the asbestos there, has that put it back any dates at all?
Just repeat the last thing you said there. With the asbestos there, has it what?
Has it put it back? Has it put the finish date back?
Delayed it.
Delayed the works? Yes. Yeah. So they're now targeting September. September of this year. Yeah.
Further questions? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Thank you. The current works report at 6:43 and pass to Councillor Mallard for environmental sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. I will open the Environmental Sustainability Policy Committee meeting on the 6th of February with the time being 6:43. Does any councillor have a declaration of interest? This meeting? No. I'll move on to item 2.1, minutes of the Companion Animals Community Committee, 7th of December 2023. There's a recommendation on page. Discussion on this item. I would just like to comment briefly as the minutes acknowledge the Companion Animals Registrar Rosemary Reid retired. I thank her for all of her service. She's done fantastic work for the council and is going to be a real loss for the committee. We did have a farewell morning tea early in the new year for her, and it was fantastic to have previous chairs of the committee, both Stephen Nugent and Neil Jones, along to say their farewells as well. Being no other discussion. Oh, sorry, Councillor. Hang on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just curious, just a question. The desexing program was held, according to this information that we have here, saying 19 dogs and 5 cats. How does that compare to previous years?
We only allocated a budget of, I think we exceeded the budget slightly, but of about $5,500. We have run up to $10,000 before. I would say this number would be lower than our total in previous years, but the committee still has more budget to be able to run. We normally run a couple of rounds over the course of a finance. Give you specific figures. It's been a bit.
Curious. Thank you.
Discussion. I will put the motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay. Thank you, councillors. That
Just a matter
concludes-
arising, Mr. Chair. I've had a couple of calls from people just following on from the Christmas holidays that there were a number of uncollared, like mature age animals, not kittens and puppies, but mature age animals being deposited up at the pound in various locations. I'm just wondering if the Companion Animals Committee can investigate the cost, feasibility and need for maybe a day similar to the desexing day, but where collars and tags are issued for pet owners, as it seems to be an issue and it's causing a lot of trouble, I believe, for our rangers and whatnot. Please investigate.
Take that as something we can discuss at our next meeting. Mainly focused on using the budget for desexing. Yeah, I think that some ideas talked about making sure animals have got ID on them.
Chair, if I may.
Councillor Green.
So just in relation to Councillor Evans's, so when they have the desexing and stuff like that, there was a microchip program that was running at 1.2, wasn't there, where they offered free microchipping of your pet?
From memory, that's included if they take it up, it's desexing, microchipping.
Thank you.
The main reason, just to clarify, Mr. Chair, is that over the holidays where we're limited with staff, it makes it easier for the community to take action and find the home the animals come from, rather than having to home it in their own house with other animals. And perhaps in this instance, the cages at the pound are out of action. It just makes things easier in that regard.
No other matters arising. Thank you, councillors. That concludes the Environmental Sustainability Policy Committee meeting. The time being 6:47 p.m. I'll call on Councillor Duffy to conduct the Finance Policy Committee.
No, it doesn't work. The meeting. I had the same.
Thank you, councillors. We'll declare the Finance Committee meeting open at 8:47.
7.
Called for pecuniary interest and non-pecuniary interest, being none. And
47.
6:47, my apologies. To 1.1, which is no pecuniary interest. Comes up, just notify us and we'll just move on from there. Move on to item 2.1, which is small donations. There's a recommendation on page 5. And someone moved by Councillor Floyd, second by Councillor Greenhalgh. Peterson first, I think.
I just want to bring to your attention the Chamber a program. Thank you. I wanted to bring to the attention of the Chamber a program called Sports for All that approached Council last year, and we sort of took it on as, the Ageing and Access Committee took it on as something that we should chat about. It's a program that helps local sporting clubs and schools help integrate people with a disability into mainstream sport. I did provide some information about potential costs and their idea, I guess, to councillors last week. The Ageing and Access Committee is broadly supportive. We had some council staff today who participated in the NRL, organised All Abilities NRL kind of event in Orange called Millie's Game Changer, and they thought that would help them out as well. Given if we had this report and there was an identifiable need, I just wanted to ask the Chamber basically for their opinions as to whether this was something that was in our lane and a responsibility that we should take on. The total cost would be about $42,000. So this would be a small sum, about maybe 12 or 13K the first year, and then the balance the second year, which would pay part of the salary of a person who would work 2 days a week from this organisation. They would cover the other costs. If there was support amongst the Chamber, given we, do run lots of the sporting facilities in town, I'd be interested to hear it. If people felt that it wasn't really our Nothing. I'd love to know, and then if I can, based on those answers, can decide whether to bring it up as a notice of motion next fortnight.
A comment? No, Councillor Greenhill, can we have a comment from that? Just a general comment from Prince.
Yeah,
for
I
an
guess I'm
answer?
seeking, if anyone wants to comment, I'd love to hear people's opinion from the floor, either in the positive or negative. I'd like to gauge the interest of the chamber.
See,
A couple of councillors spoke to me privately saying they thought it was well, but would love to hear any public thoughts that people had.
Comment
No
from
problem. We'll move on. Councillor Greenhill.
Thank you. I'm more than happy to investigate this opportunity. I am a great believer that we should be providing sport for all people in our community. So thank you to the Director for pulling the report together. It's great to see that, you know, we do have about 6 clubs that offer sport opportunities for all abilities, but I would like to see that increase into the future.
Councillor Miletto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Look, I support it in principle. However, I would like the opportunity to have a briefing and invite potential participants to come along and speak about how such a program would benefit them, to give me a better understanding overall of you know, why council would be investing in such a program. In principle, yes, I do support it, but I just need more information to make that decision. And I'd like to hear from a couple of speakers, if that was possible, and from council staff to give an overall perspective about how we can enhance people's lives. Thank you.
You're moving that way?
Yes.
You have a seconder? Maybe the
So
second.
what's
Councillor
the
Greenhill.
actual motion?
We'll deal with that after, as part of the motion.
Yeah, so to defer it until we have that meeting, that's what I'm
Well,
asking.
it's only for noting,
Yeah, okay. Well,
so it'll be part of the motion.
thank you.
I think that's a great idea, and I will contact Sports for All. We could do a briefing before a council meeting sometime, and if anyone wanted to come, they could get some information for them in the half an hour before we kick off.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Look, I just go what Councillor Greenhalgh said. I think it's a fantastic thing that we look into. I will just note that it was raised as well today in the Ageing and Access Committee meeting, and the initial response from staff was that it would be well and truly utilised and it would be very valuable. So I don't know whether it needs to come to council as a motion. I don't know whether that's the next step in terms of budget allocations, but I definitely think that investigations into it and some more information is definitely worth looking at.
Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support it in principle, as what Councillor Miletto has already mentioned. The more I've read the document, it was more about a coordination approach in relation to the multiple sporting associations in Orange. And I do understand Councillor Greenhow and Councillor McDonald in relation to that there. So it's something we should go down to, but the question that I'd like to hear on that report that would come back here are we taking over these services already from each of those organisations, and is our sporting side of it going to become a pinnacle in relation to coordinating all what's already delivered out there? Because it is quite a substantial amount of money, and I'm certain our ratepayers will be asking why, if it's already been out there without any duplication, Mr. Chair. So thank you.
Lloyd.
Yeah, I support it 100% for sure. And just echoing Councillor Miletto, I'd just like to get a little bit more information about it, but I'm certainly behind it 100%.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Also support this, and just to clarify for Councillor Power, at the meeting today I specifically asked the question about whether it was complementary to what council were doing. They were very positive about it and they thought they could really use the extra resources. And with this report, everyone wants to do it, but no one's got the resources. So it was just about supplementing what's there and making it better. So they were really very positive about it.
Councillor Mallard.
Yeah, thanks. Happy to encourage and commend Councillor Peterson for bringing more forward on this, and thanks to the staff for the report on things, and I'm very happy for us to look at prioritising all abilities activities as part of our small donations and grants program, but definitely think, we should be looking at what can we do in terms of providing leadership and coordination around these sorts of important areas. It fits in with the community strategic plan. And the thing that stuck out for me from the report, apart from what Councillor Kinghorn just observed, that the ones who responded who aren't doing things want to do things, was we only got responses from 8 out of 43 sporting clubs in Orange. So, and I would suspect if people were doing something, they would have told us about it. So I suspect there's a lot to be done to lift the opportunities for people of all abilities to be able to engage in a broader range of sporting activities.
Councillor Mulito.
Thank you. Just a point of clarification, and then before we have come back to council, I'm just wondering whether council staff could make some inquiries to find out whether there's any grant funding available. I know that the government are always eager to put money into people who are less fortunate than we are sometimes, people who have abilities, and to make them inclusive and give them the opportunity to play sport. I know that softball do it very well, do an excellent job. So I'm just wondering, is there grant funding opportunities out there rather than just go straight to our budget and see whether we can do it? I think we should make some inquiries in the first instance to see whether there is some other support out there first. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor, you're aware what you're voting on. We're voting to note the report, and we're also voting to have a briefing on it as well. Okay. Happy with that? Any comment? No comment. I'm going to put the resolution. All those in favour, raise your hand. Unanimous. Now move on to 2.2, which is, would someone like to move that we deal with these separately? Councillor Floyd, seconded by Councillor Greenhalgh. No discussion, no further discussion on that one. I'll put that. All those in favour, raise your hand.
Yep.
Unanimous. We'll deal with number 1, which is donate $2,500 towards the performance costs of kids' families focused on those who escape from plastics being presented during the autumn of spring school holidays. A mover and a second of that. Moved by Councillor Greenhalgh.
I'll second for discussion.
Councillor McDonald, any discussion? I've got a bit of discussion. I'll just ask the CEO to have a comment on it for all the relevant staff member.
Councillor Rob, Director Rob will answer all of these questions.
So a specific question or just a general overview on the grant application?
What would you like to know, Chair?
Oh, just what the nature of it is.
So we received an application from this dance group that is actually started this program of delivering this event through funding through Canberra. Got some funding that they can deliver this dance program, which talks about ecological sustainability, and it's sort of directed at families and children. So they're taking this on tour regionally, come to our council to say that they would like to, with the costs of actually putting on the event, which is the local sort of production cost, they're seeking a contribution of $2.5.
No further questions, the Director?
Just one question. So if we don't approve this, will that mean that it doesn't go ahead, or?
Looking for some to help with the marketing.
Okay, so how much was the in-kind?
Helping with, including in some of our advertising that we currently have as part of our advertising.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologise. Being school children, is this a school-based program?
It's not, but they have performed in schools, but it's not a school-based program.
Thank you.
Further questions? Further discussion? Put the resolution. All those in favour, raise your hand.
Eight.
Against?
3 against.
Declare the matter carried. Item number 2, donate $393 to Central Tablelands Historic Car Club.
Moved.
Cover the cost of hiring the Naylor Pavilion, the Western Village Car Care.
Moved, Mr Chair.
Second.
Been moved by Councillor Hamling, seconded by Councillor Miletto. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll put that resolution. All those in favour, raise your hand. Number 3, which is donate $1,110 to Grow Mental Wellbeing Programs to cover the costs of hiring a room in the Community Services Centre for their weekly workshops.
Happy to move that.
By Councillor Miletto, seconded by Councillor Hamling. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll put that resolution. All those raise your right hand or left hand. All those unanimous. Number 4, which is to provide $905.62 in-kind support to the combined Rotary Clubs of Orange for provision of road barriers to the Rotary
Moved.
Youth Driver Awareness Program. By Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Greenhalgh. Any discussion or any comment? I just want to make a comment. I'm going to support this 100%. But I was approached by the guys from Rotary who did the hamburgers or egg on Australia Day, and it's the biggest one ever yet. Do you want to comment?
Yeah, it's just a comment. Thanks, Mr. Chair. Look, I just want to congratulate Rotary for the work that they do in the community. They've been running this driver awareness program for a number of years now, and there's been a lot of school kids, not only in Orange, but who come from other schools around the area to participate in this. And I just think that it's beneficial to create the awareness of transitioning from in these simulated vehicles and whatever else they do into normal vehicles. So thanks to Rotary, they don't only support things like this, but these are all volunteers who give up their time, and they do a number of wonderful programs. So thanks to all those people who care for our community.
Any further comment? We'll put that recommendation. All those in favour, raise your hand. Unanimous. We move on now to item number 5, which is donate $2,500 to the Runners Club. I'll move that from the chair, seconded by Councillor Greenhalgh. Any discussion? I'd just like to make a comment. Look, over the last couple of days, we've buried 2 people in Orange who were actually champions within our community, and one of them being Ken Patterson. And Ken was the original founder with Bob Healy of the Runners Club. And next month you'll feel how valuable that is, because they've got about 2,500 entries already to their running festival. Over 1,000 of those are from out of town. And I've heard the Mayor say on previous occasions, and many occasions, whether we talk about cricket or rugby union or whatever the case may be in the running festival or netball carnival, it is so important to us. So as I said, I support these type of carnivals 100%. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But also I'd like to mention too that Doug Pickett was buried today, and Doug Pickett had virtually a lifetime of decades as well in servicing rugby league and rugby union, and donating his time into raising funds for their grandstand and all those type of things. I think it's well worth noting. Mr. Mayor, you want to make a comment?
I just want to make a comment on this running festival. I don't know whether you've been out there before when the running festival's on out. It's around the Gosling Creek and Bloomfield area. It's amazing how many people they do get. And I think, the spend, it's going to be more than $2,500 to spend in Orange on that weekend with the people staying here. And, it's about being fit, and it's about mental health as well, going for a run. So if we can encourage more people to do that, it pays off in spades. So, I support this 100%.
Councillor Greenhalgh.
Yeah, I would just like to echo that, and being out there a couple of times now, it's great to see. It's not just the individuals, it's families that go in these small, like the 1K or the 2K. And yeah, it's just a great opportunity bringing people together in our community for some fun and fitness and, mental health and stuff. And, it does certainly bring a lot to our town. So I support this 100% as well.
Just as a follow-up on that too, they're greatly looking forward to the new athletic stadium is going to be built because they want to hold regional calendars, which means at the moment Orange can't do it, but down in Newcastle and major centres, but so looking forward to that stadium being built. We'll put that recommendation on those in favour. Councillor Peterson, sorry.
All I was to say was to point out that in addition to all the great running events that they're doing, there's a community mile. No prizes, anyone can do it. Wheelchairs, prams, walkers, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyone can have a go and participate in the running festival if they want.
Thank you. No further comment. I'm going to put that recommendation. All those in favour, raise your hand. That is unanimous. We now move on to item number 6. It's donate $2,500 to the Orange Equestrian Club to replace ageing and inadequate underground water infrastructure and increase the number of water outlets across the equestrian reserve.
Happy to move.
that.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Hamling. Any discussion? Any questions? Councillor Mallard.
Just going to say, yeah, I'm happy to support it. And apart from helping the equestrian club and improving their infrastructure, if it's improving water efficiency and preventing problems, then it's a good thing overall.
Any further questions? Put that recommendation. All those in favour, raise your hand. Declared unanimous. Okay, councillors, that brings to close the Finance Policy Committee. And I call on the councillor to start the Service Policy Committee, and I declare the Finance Committee closed at 7:06.
Very low.
Lower us to your level. Kidding. Thank you, Councillor Duffy. I'll open the Services Policy Committee meeting for the 6th of February with time being
7:07.
7:07. So any declarations of interest from any councillors? Items. All right, in that case, we'll move on. Item 2.1 is minutes of the Community Safety and Crime Prevention Committee meeting of the 27th of November. Page 5 is a recommendation. Can I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Malado, and a seconder, Councillor Peterson. Is there any discussion on this matter?
Yes.
Matter?
Not discussion, just a matter arising, if I could make it.
Yep.
Just with regards to crime prevention and some activity which is happening up around the Glenroy area. I've been contacted by numerous people regarding motorcycles, South Terrace area. It's been brought to the attention of police. I'm getting continued phone calls about this. Fortunately, these people on motorcycles are going across the oval and around where the skate park has been constructed. There's kids out there blowing leaves off, taking pride in the skate ring itself. And what happens is some inconsiderate people are riding their motorbikes while they're trying to ride their skateboards. Unfortunately, police have serious, sometimes more serious issues to attend to and can't get there in the time frame they would like. All I'd encourage people to do, if they see these motorcycles who are around the South Terrace area, to contact police immediately. And hopefully if there is a unit in the immediate area, they can get there and take some action against those motorcycles in South Terrace. Thank you.
Mr. CEO, can we...
Yep.
Comes to the old sort of neighbourhood watch.
Absolutely, and there's a crossover there with the police force. We'll take that on board. Thank you.
Councillor Power.
Sorry, can I just clarify and apologise? It's not the South Terrace, it's Orchard Grove Road where these motorcycles are frequenting and coming from several houses up there. Orchard Grove Road, not South Terrace. I apologise to the good people. South Terrace, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Power.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to note that a position inside the police force has been filled the last couple of weeks, and I've had the opportunity to meet with the the gentleman, and their position is the Aboriginal Police Liaison Officer. And so it's really been great to connect with him. I have asked if at a time on our Friday that we would have a bit of a debrief from himself in relation to what he's going to do. I had noted, as what Councillor Malato has already mentioned, the issues and challenges that we are finding within that new funding precinct, especially the actual new skate park and the concern that the community have had. And he has taken it on board. So he's got a big job to do. And so I told him just to breathe and know that there's going to be a fair bit of work for him to do. But just to note to the chamber that position has finally been filled. I think it's been close to 18 months, and it's a vital position when it comes to the community, the police, and also what we are looking at in relation to crime prevention. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Power. Yes, that is. Duffy.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The issue is, I'm not going to pinpoint the bullet at Glenroy, but when you travel around the city at 4 o'clock in the morning and things like that, you do see them all over town in different areas where someone on motorbikes, I won't say they're young or old or whatever the case may be, but I just hope the police sort of cover the whole area and just not one area.
Councillor Mallard.
Thanks, Chair. Just wanted to, was interested in the report on the Parental Responsibility Act, which starts at page 19 in our papers. And I had some questions, and they may not be ones that anyone here can answer, and open to either our councillors on this committee maybe asking questions or clarifications if need be, or even if we can get a briefing of all councillors, because I'm interested in how the Act works. I know there was a great emphasis when it was out of operation on the importance of it. Just noting in the detail, like on page 21, one thing that jumped out, there's a couple of examples there, like number 23, and another one a little higher up, number 20, where it's saying the young person or young persons were involved in an incident of domestic violence. And then they've been taken home and left in the care of a parent. So I'm just wondering with that, like it raises questions about assuming that wasn't returning them to the place where the domestic violence happened and returning them to the parents. So just wanting sort of clarification on that. But it raises broader issues, I guess. Like I appreciate the intent of the way this operates is it allows police to take young people who are out in an unsafe situation where they might either commit offences or become victims of offences and return them to a safe place, which is home and with a carer or a parent. But it's entirely possible for young people to be out on the street because home is not a safe place for them. So I guess I'm interested in finding out more about sort of what sort of assessment goes on when they pick a child up before they just release them into the custody of a parent, and also what sort of work is done. That's clearly an opportunity for early intervention possibilities. So what is there work done in terms of looking for referral opportunities or ways to link up that young person and the household with support services and wraparound services that help prevent them ending up in further unsafe situations or in criminal offending? Thanks.
Dr. Maunder.
Right. Thank you, Madam Chair. So we can certainly organise a briefing. That's fine. Essentially what happens is the police assess the situation, make an assessment of the circumstances where they find the young person. In that particular instance, they weren't at their home. We don't get the detail in the report, but I would assume that they weren't at their home, their residence. They were just at another residence at the time that a domestic violence event occurred. When they do take the children, so their first option is to take the children back to their residence, and they do an assessment when they get there. So if that place proves to be unsafe, then they don't leave the child there. They take them to further care, or they take them to a hotel under care of services. So that the Act is all about prevention of crime and safety of the young person. So they make that initial assessment. They certainly hook them up with the relevant services to assist them. You'll see they do record the ages in there. You'll see some quite young children involved in some circumstances, some sleeping rough, some in dangerous situations, some in a position where they might commit a crime. So that's really the intent of it, and they do use their professional judgment and their experience when they make those assessments. And to be frank, they know a lot of the people. They're very rare that they come across a child or a family that they haven't had an relationship with before. So that's just the nature of that work.
Thanks.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 2.2, minutes of the Lucknow Community Committee meeting 30th of November. Page 31 has the recommendation. Can I? Councillor Evans and Councillor Floyd. Any discussion? I just thought maybe you want to.
Let you do it this time.
Yeah. I would just like to say that the feedback from the committee has been really positive. The progress on the footpath. There have been some delays with long awaited and very much appreciated. Councillor, any discussion? Or in that case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, raise an arm. Item 2.3, minutes of the Clifton Grove Community Committee meeting of the 7th of December. Page 49 has the recommendation. Can I have a mover in it? Thank you, Councillor Kinghorn, and a seconder, Councillor Peterson. Thank you. Discussion? All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, raise a... Thank you. Okay.
Yes, every question you've asked.
You're too fast. All right, item 2.4, minutes of the Spring Hill Community Committee meeting of the 14th of December.
Move that.
Excellent. Can I have a seconder? Any discussion? Nope. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, raise an arm. Are you raising it, Councillor Duffy? Thank you. Unanimous. That's it for the Services Policy Committee meeting. I'll hand back to our Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor McDonald, I'll move back on to the paper. Notices of motion 4.1. Councillor Floyd is on Waratah Oval. You move that, seconder?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Seconded? Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to put forward a notice of motion tonight. The council resolves to look into the possibilities of the reinstatement of a fireworks show on New Year's Eve at Waratah's Oval or a suitable location. Investigate funding opportunities from sources such as business donations, grants or council funding, and report back to the chamber with costings and funding options and opportunities. Now, the background, I think, Mr. Mayor, to this is fairly self-explanatory. I have been made aware, however, that since drafting this motion, it does conflict with a motion from the previous council to have a fireworks display taken off the calendar completely. While I respect the thoughts of the last council, things have changed. COVID restrictions are no longer an issue, and the effects of the then prolonged drought are not as prevalent today. My notice of motion tonight simply asks that council looks into funding opportunities, appropriate locations to hold an event, and the timing of such an event. I realise opportunities could arise where a firework display could be part of a festival, such as a multicultural festival, often held around the November-December time each year. And I'm sure council could liaise with interested parties to secure an event that would maximise the potential for a wide cross-section of the Orange community to attend. I ask that we do not lose such a strong family and community building event in Orange. I do not believe families should have to travel to other towns to watch firework displays, and I do not want the future generations to dwell on the fact that their kids could only see a fireworks display on YouTube or TikTok. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Mileto.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor. I certainly appreciate the sentiment behind the notice of motion. However, in saying that, I believe it would be irresponsible and negligent for me to support this notice of motion in its current form. And if I were to do so, 2025 might go off in a bang, but not the way that it is intended to. What I am concerned about is the amount of residentials work that is going on up around North Orange, the houses, the ones that are being built. And from our last council, whilst I respect that you have your own view and you may not necessarily agree with the previous council, there were a lot of concerns raised by residents in that area about the fireworks. Also concerned that there is a disaster waiting to happen, and that disaster is foreseeable and would place council in a serious legal and liable position should we approve something like this, knowing the potential for it to go wrong. And not only that, any type of approval would be subject to the Rural Fire Services in any event, so it would be out of our control. So my concern would also be that if all that planning were to take place, then we were to have a total fire ban, a month leading into it, well then where do we go from there? I think in today's age, whilst I respect your opinion with regards to fireworks, technology has certainly improved, and what we are seeing and what we've seen in recent years is different displays, whether they be lights or whatever. So it's another opportunity to see something different rather than the traditional fireworks which we have come to enjoy and appreciate over the years. But I certainly can't support this notice of motion in its current format, so I'll be voting against it. Thank you.
Councillor Duffy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I said, I'm going to support it. Number one, because it says look into the possibilities. It's not saying do it. And the other one is it's look the opportunities for funding. Not saying do it either. And the other one is that and bring a report back to chamber. But I don't believe the actual resolution goes far enough. The resolution to me that the Councillor Floyd May should put up and also look at a light display, which we've seen got Vivid coming on in Sydney the next month or so, I think, down there. And it attracts thousands and millions of people looking at that. Now, maybe that could be part of a resolution as well. I'm happy to, my colleague is happy to add that on at the end, that we also come back to the report. But as I said, I don't have any problem with the report that's written. But if as Councillor Mileto did bring up some valid points that he's got that we have to work through. But this is not saying, let's kill it or let's invest. It's saying investigate and the opportunities. The previous fireworks have been sponsored mainly by the business houses of Orange. I think one of the real estate agents were well and truly behind it, McCormick Barber. They were well and truly behind it and donating tens of thousands of dollars towards it. So maybe that same thing could happen, and maybe they can take it on. Another organisation can take it on. But I do believe that we should also be looking at a light display, because we have some fantastic buildings in this town. Which you put something on very similar to what Vivid is in Sydney.
McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I share similar concerns to Councillor Mileto. Given that at the end of the day, this is happening in peak summer period, we are getting hotter, drier summers. And if the ultimate call is by the RFS, and we've put it in the calendar, we booked people up, all the alternatives have gone, a month out, a couple of weeks out, whatever, total fire ban, we've got no event. Whereas at least with things like the light display, laser shows, any of these other things that aren't dependent on that, we can set those into the calendar months and months in advance so that we have surety around the event. yeah, I'm not sure about the comment about lights and vivid. I think that's having a light festival is a little bit of a different option. But my understanding too is previous events, yes, have been heavily sponsored by the business section of Orange, but it was also heavily supported by the service organisation. So it was Rotary, I believe. Rotary clubs were doing the manning of it, the entries, the parking, all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, it's just a whole lot of logistical stuff in there. But at the end of the day, if we want to put on something that's great for New Year's Eve, we need certainty, and fireworks are no longer a certain thing. So I'm not.
Houch.
Through you, if I can, Mr. Mayor. So just a couple of things, and I might have a question to the director if that's okay as well. Obviously, this is going to be a very contentious issue, but I still believe there is a place for fireworks. Every child, should get to experience fireworks. And I think if we did it correctly and had faith our staff were putting on a great event, which they always tick all the boxes, and all the events that they've done have been fabulous. The whole show doesn't have to be about fireworks. A portion of it could be. Then we have the light show and stuff as backup, and depending on, the conditions as we get closer, we have a contingency plan. So I think, it's not just black and white, there's shades of grey. And I think if we just investigate, obviously there's budgetary things that we need to know, what's fireworks worth in comparison to light shows, etc. We're always going to have those people in the community that are against fireworks, because it does, let's face it, the pets don't like it. I've got a pet myself that doesn't like it. But when the show's on, we all make arrangements and we get through that as well. So, I think it's something, I've got no qualms with investigating it and looking at it. I mean, at the end of the day, we want it to be a great city that people want to stay in for those important events during the year. We don't want them going down to Sydney and spending their money down there when they could be supporting businesses in our town. So I'm happy to support it, to investigate the opportunities.
Councillor Mallard.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I can't support the motion, and I thoroughly agree with Councillor Floyd that we want family and community building events, but I don't think fireworks are the way for us to go with any event. And to Councillor Duffy's point, I don't see the point in investigating something that isn't viable. The risks aren't just the ones that are highlighted in the comments on the motion, and I do agree with Councillor McDonald's comments about the fire risks are changing. But there are additional issues as well, and there are examples of them around. So yeah, kids may love fireworks, but there was a Northern Beaches Council organised Carols event where they had fireworks at the end of 2022, where there was a fireworks malfunction, and there ended up being several kids treated for burns and distress for a hell of a lot more. So there's safety risks to human health. There's the animal welfare impacts that Councillor Greenhalgh just talked about, one part of it, which is the impact on pets. I know Hawkesbury Council is dealing with risks and having to come up with a fireworks policy, because there's a resort up on Bell's Line of Road that's getting fireworks permission, and that is then causing concern about distress to horses that are stabled in the area. And for anywhere where we're having an event on a peri-urban sort of area, then that sort of impact on livestock is an issue as well. Then there's the impact on native wildlife as well. So I just don't see there are all of these complications, and we don't need to engage with them. It's possible to have a high quality laser show, or there are now things that can be done in terms of drones and working with them, that we could engage in some sort of development of an event that would work without having to deal with any of those safety risks. So I think the previous council and the previous mayor made the right assessment of this. I don't think we should change from that. Thanks.
Councillor Kinghorn.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question. My interpretation of this with the background is that Councillor Floyd's trying to get a big family-friendly event back, because the ones that we've been having have been a lot smaller and ticketed and all that sort of stuff. So getting something back So that, except for the very last sentence of that, that seems to be his intent. So with this motion in its existing form, would we be investigating anything other than a fireworks show? Because I don't know how we've gone with laser shows in the past. Have we done them in the past after we banned the fireworks? And is it possible to amend that to say, look into the possibilities of reinstating a fireworks or alternative New Year's Eve show?
My understanding was it was about fireworks, but carry on. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So we have held a laser show previously at Wade Park, and that was done with water, and so there was water in the laser show occurred at Wade Park. The events team has investigated laser, drones and light, and in the past fireworks. So when it comes to drone shows and laser shows, they are expensive and more expensive than a fireworks show. But we have looked at all those options, and we've tried to look at light in different ways as well. So uplighting, trees or buildings and projections on buildings. We did that 2 years ago. And then this year we actually got the little wristbands that had some light in it so people could wave it and dance. So we've investigated and looked at a number of things, and we have done events with lasers and with lights.
Okay, and they're impressive. I've never been to one, so I don't know. But I'm just thinking if we're going to be looking into the possibilities, then we should be looking into the possibilities of something other than fireworks, just in case that's.
The lights with drones is extremely impressive and can be an extremely good show, but it is a cost that's in hundreds of thousands of dollars, not tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah.
Any others? You've had a turn. You've had a turn.
Point of clarification, Mr.
It'll want to be.
My question is to the Director of Planning. And my question is Director of Planning is that if Rotary or the Lions Club or anyone came to council, would they have to get a permit or a DA approval to have a fireworks display if they have funding from business houses?
Yeah. That one's you can issue them.
Mr. Mayor, I was just having a think about the history of the ones up north at Waratahs. There's an existing consent up there already that's has been operating for those events, so it would come under the existing consent. My apologies, I was going to where it was the last time. And I thought there was a consent relating to that. Beyond that, for other sites, it would depend what the existing use rights were. So there'd be some cases where they can ancillary to the existing use and not require a DA. But from memory, I thought the Waratah site had a. That's in Cabon.
Any other speakers? Because you've had a chat. Yep.
Question to the Director. So when we have the show, what is the process that the Show Society have to go through to have the fireworks there?
They organise that themselves. We don't go through an approval process on it. In relation to private fireworks, there is an approval process that council does provide, but for the show, we don't get involved in that one. It comes under the total event approval, though. I should say there is a bigger event approval, but I mean individually in development section, which we normally manage fireworks from, we just nest that approval back in the corporate's original approval for the use of the show. Go grab yourself.
Okay, I might have a little bit of a chat about it. So the history of the fireworks coming to Orange. About 17 years ago, I went to Bathurst. I saw they had fireworks. So I came back to Orange Council and asked, could we have a fireworks display? That's how we got the fireworks display going out at Waratahs. There were times where we couldn't do it because of the RFS are in control. If it doesn't happen, if they say no, it doesn't happen. But you still pay for the fireworks. Is that right?
I believe so.
Once you order them and they're there ready to go, if you last minute, if the RFS says not happening, I'll have to clarify that. The problem was that there's some residents around Waratahs were not happy with what was going on out there. The thing that this year we did put a New Year's Eve event on down the back of the forecourt. The temperature did drop to about -5, and a lot of people didn't bring a jumper, and they decided to go home. So it wasn't very well. There was a few people there, but we had some beautiful local acts. It was, and it was really well put on. I'm happy to support this, but as long as we're not saying yes, we are reinstating a fireworks. I'd like to see us look at a better event with drones, with lights, with whatever we can do, what we've been talking about. So I'm happy to support whether we can look into something. It doesn't have to be fireworks. So I understand what the last council's motion was because there was so much uncertainty. That's what it was about last time. So I'm happy to support looking at a drone light. I don't care. And fireworks, but I'm not if it comes back to council to vote on whether we have fireworks or not, I'd be voting against it.
Are you posing an amendment then? Because this motion's just
that's what I was
about
going to
fireworks.
ask. It's a point of, sorry, Councillor, just a point of clarification. Yep. That's not what this is saying.
I know.
It's not what it's saying at all. So unless that is changed, which
We would have to change it.
but not what he's asking for, and that's not what the history of it says. So.
I'll ask the mover, would you look at using the word lights, drones, lasers, any other options? That might be but if does it come back to council for a final say, Mr. CEO?
Well, at this stage, it's just an investigation, so presumably it would. I'm just waiting to see what the wording would be about fireworks. We've looked into drones and lights in some detail, Director Rob. We've done all the investigating.
Well, maybe a report needs to come back on all those, including everything, and then we can go from there. Is that Councillor Floyd?
I'd be quite prepared to add any other options into that as well. But
so who was the move? Oh, you were the seconder, Councillor Duff? Yeah.
How's it going to read?
How's it going to read? So the possibilities of reinstating a fireworks show.
What's the possibility?
Alternatives or other alternatives. Write this down, or might we just talk?
yeah.
Yeah, what the motion is. So Rachel. Motion 2 and 3 stay the same, correct?
Yeah.
That's right. It's just number 1.
So part 1 through you, Mr. Mayor, is look into possibilities of reinstating a fireworks show or other alternatives on New Year's Eve at Waratah's Oval or suitable location.
With respect, that's pretty wide.
Yes.
But okay, well, we'll work with that.
Come back anyway.
I'll just close the debate then, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. First of all, thank you for everyone for your input, and this is exactly what I was looking for: is this diverse input into this? Because as the motion says, investigate, and I'm quite happy to have other things go on around this. Maybe in a time frame from say 5 in the afternoon to 8 or something, and then when it starts to get a bit darker, then have a bit of a fireworks show after that. So you've got all different things going on, and again investigating a different location. We've got a brand new big sporting complex that's going to be up and going shortly with heaps of room out there. So we've got options to move this around and do different things with it. So the whole idea of this was to get a fireworks show back up and going, whether it be a half an hour one or a 5-minute one. It will drag people in, but also to have other things going on in the same space. So we're catering for a lot of people, and as Francis said, have it as a family, like a large sort of family orientated event. So yeah, thank you for everyone. I think what we've got now is
alternatives rather than fireworks, but
yeah, as well, yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Unanimous. 4.2, which is 16 days of activism, gender-based violence.
Who to move that?
So McDonald, seconded by Councillor Mallard. Speakers?
Oh, yep. Thank you. I would just like to firstly say a massive thank you to council staff. Director Rob and her team were fantastic in facilitate this and arrange meetings and coordinate everything. So, and without them, I think it wouldn't have been the success that it was. I would like to say that it was a little disappointing. I get that there are conflicting calendar events, but it was a little disappointing that the councillor attendance at the Nutbush, which was literally right across the road there, and I know, Mr. Mayor, you were out of town, but it was literally over the road there. It's kind of disappointing that we didn't have more of a representation from councillors and other council staff that weren't involved in the organising of the event. But this was the first time that we've done it, and I think there's been a lot of learnings from it. I'd also like to say that the feedback from the community has been really, I don't want to say emotional, but it's been heartfelt. And the fact that we were able to launch the event with the Women's Safety Commissioner was definitely a huge draw card. I'd also like to say thank you to the service organisations, particularly Housing Plus, who organised things like the resource packs for the business information evening, and coordinated Housing Plus, basically sort of coordinated the other sites of the Nutbush. So it was a huge effort, and it was really impressive what we achieved for our first event. And I'd also like to thank Councillor Mallard for bringing this to council to begin with. So,
Councillor Mallard.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, absolutely support this and hope that we can resolve to build on the work. I really think it would be a lost opportunity if we didn't continue with this, because we really did get out of this activity this year, built some really great partnerships. As Councillor McDonald mentioned, the other organisations that got involved, we now have that network and connection from council to them. We ran, as noted, we produce materials that can now be reused. So some of that cost won't need to be repeated. And we also started building awareness in the community and engagement, and also building connections with things that were happening in the community as well. So I think one of the things that I think I thought the events we did were important and powerful in themselves. But then I also want to mention that just a few weeks ago, there was the home-based memorial softball game that ran at Wade Park for an entire day, that was organised by the Lady Marmalades and others involved in the Softball Association, that was raising funds for Christy Armstrong's children and for domestic violence prevention and respectful relationship education in the community. And we were able to find out that event was happening and help promote it at the final of the 16 days event. So it helped build those connections as well. And I hope their event is going to continue to be an annual one now as well. There's so much more that we need to do. It's a massive project for us to try and eliminate gender-based violence in our community. we need to start taking the steps. I think, I'm really glad I had council's support on doing this for the first year. I think it would be, as I said, a lost opportunity if we don't build on the momentum that and the relationships that has brought with it. Thanks.
Councillor Duffy.
I'm supporting it 100% on the concept of the whole thing there whatsoever. But what I do have a concern with is we're sort of moving away from what our I can't see why we cannot change the state government. Their responsibility. Spoken many a times about various different things, whether it be crime or whether the case be, it's not come under. We help facilitate them by all means. But the $5,000 in the budget is not a concern to me, simply because we discussed at budget time. But as regards to, I cannot see why we're not pursuing funding through the state government to help facilitate something like that. And the efforts and the out of it. But
Councillor Miletto.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I agree with Councillor Duffy to an extent. But having had the opportunity to go to the softball in memory of Christy Armstrong, I was actually moved by the event itself and the support of people who went along. And as I said to a couple of people, it was a shame that we had to come together under the circumstances which we did, because it was really a beautiful day, but the circumstances were very sad. And leading up from what Councillor Mallard said, there was 20 teams there. I was contacted during last week by a couple of people who involved in the committee, and they wanted to grow, create that awareness, and make it bigger each year. Judging by what I saw, and I was asked to provide some feedback to council, and the input which they had. The committee felt that council went well and above what would be expected under those circumstances. The grounds were immaculate, and the cricketers gave up the pitch for the day. So we all worked as a community for an important cause. As I said, it was just a shame under those circumstances, because it was a beautiful day, but it was sad as well.
Councillor Powell.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just want to echo everybody's view already. It was just a fantastic opportunity to come together for a vital cause in our community, and just be a part of it, and to be a part of the committee. And it was just amazing. And I really hope and I pray this would continue to go on, because it's a vital opportunity to provide support for those out there 365 days of the year that are doing that. And this is just 16 days that we can unite together as a nation to create awareness, create support for those. And I thank the staff and the councillors who all participated in such an amazing event, and echoed the services there, as we can read in the briefing there. Just amazing to see all these services on.
Councillor Greenhouse.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. I too believe it was fantastic. I was fortunate enough to attend a couple of the events, and I too would like to see it grow. Bathurst do a very good job. They had some big flags up, in the community that are there all the time, I think, saying, we don't tolerate violence, etc. in our community. So I agree to a certain degree with Councillor Duffy as well. So maybe I'm happy to move an amendment that we put a 0.3, that council also investigate any funding opportunities that could possibly support this.
Are you happy to incorporate that in the motion?
I moved, yes.
Did you move? Sorry, the other way.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's
you're
okay.
happy to do that? So
Yep.
there'll be a 0.3.
Yep.
Doesn't need to be amendment. Investigate any government funding, state or federal.
Yep. Can I just speak to?
I'll come
Yep.
back to you. Councillor Kinghorn.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to support this. I just want to point out, though, that just in the context of Orange's domestic violence reported figures are quite high, whether we're just better at reporting them or whether there's actually more of it. That's something that we do need to have in the background here. But the Nutbush, there were 5 councillors there, which I actually thought was pretty good, including all of the women and a couple of the boys, even though one of them wouldn't dance. Councillor Power, I'm looking at you. It was a really good community event, and being part of it, it was fun. It was fun, and everybody that was there seemed to really enjoy it. So Robertson Park was full of people nut bushing away. It was great. So I thought the people, obviously councillors can't go to everything, and I thought the fact that we had 5 there was actually pretty good. So thank you.
Councillor McDonald, do you want to vote?
I would love to if no one else wants to. Thank you, and thanks everyone for your input. I just want to make a couple of little comments. Councillor Duffy's comment about how it's not necessarily, you know, in our directive. I actually would disagree with that, because it's most definitely in our community strategic plan that the community wanted a safer community, and that comes to family and domestic and family violence, it comes to gender-based violence, it comes to crime statistics, all of that sort of stuff. So most absolutely aligned with the community strategic plan. I would also like to just remind everyone that we did have although it wasn't a council event, I did meet with Minister Jodie Harrison, who's the State Minister for and the prevention of a very long title, prevention of domestic, family and sexual violence, something like that. So she actually came to Orange specifically to meet with us at this roundtable. So those connections have definitely been forged, and I would definitely take any opportunity to further develop those. And just in terms of the reporting rates, yes, we do have a higher than average reporting rate, but all the research still shows that 70 to 80% of women never report, whether it's a current abuser or previous abuser. So even though we've got higher reporting rates, it's still only a fraction of what is actually happening in our community. So I thank everyone for their support in advance, and look forward to what we can do this year with this event.
Put the motion, all in favour? 5.2, opening to call to submit motions. Can I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Peterson, second by Councillor Power. So when are these motions got to be due by?
Mr. Chair, page 32, last paragraph. I've just put a little schedule there for councillors.
Okay, just make sure that's for the national government in Canberra.
Correct. Assembly.
Just ask a question.
Certainly can.
So does that mean that, so are we just submitting motions to you, or do we as a council need to approve that motion to go?
I'll do a bit of I've factored in time to have a vote.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, I should have clarified that. Yep.
Okay, I'll put the motion, all in favour? Against? Carried.
Mr. Chair, just a matter arising, if I may. Just had I was approached last night by a couple of people with regards to the Molong Road fruit shop, which has recently sold, and their concerns were around the long grass all around it, and it was alleged that there was a snake and rats seen there. I'm just wondering, I understand that council have the authority or the power to approach the developers and ask them to clean it up a bit. I don't know what their intent is on that, or how far away they are in planning to do something there, but certainly driving past myself, it's a real eyesore. But my concerns are with rodents and snakes there in its current format. Is there something which we can do to approach the new owners and get it cleaned up, or at least mow it or do something with it?
Through Mr. Chair, yes, there is. We'll go and do an inspection, and yes, there is. Under environmental health legislation, we can do things. We'll take that on board. Thank you.
Can we put the Curum shops site on that list as well, please?
We will, and we will. And also we've got a few other long grass sites in our sites.
Okay, just before we go into closed council, I'll just make a couple of comments on a few things. I just want to, the pool, is there a report coming back about how that went? I just want to,
Yes.
I just want to commend the staff down there. I'll preempt the report, but I just want to commend the staff down there. I know there was a small percentage of people who went out of their way to cause trouble down there, and I find that a bit despicable. But you're going to get that and everything. You're going to have a small percentage of people who want to wreck it for everyone. I went down and visited the staff a couple of times, and they've given me some ideas of maybe how we can tweak it a bit if we are going to do it. If we've got the council coming September, the council wants to do it, there's a few ideas they have. I want to commend the staff on the Carols event and the New Year's Eve event. As I said before, the New Year's Eve event, typical orange weather, it dropped to about -5 and people just didn't bring jumpers. So, the numbers dwindled, but it was a great event showcasing local talent, which we've got plenty of in the music scene. I want to also talk about the cricket carnivals that were here over the January period. Feedback that we got about our facilities, blown away. And, we also had Manly come up and play a first grade game here of cricket against Western. They were blown away by Wade Park. They couldn't believe that facility actually exists west of New South Wales. So they want to, west of the mountains, so they want to forge some sort of long-term idea about coming up. Also, what else was it? Grado, absolutely amazing. It was fantastic. The feedback that I got back was there was lots more for kids to do. I thought went off fantastically, and I just want to commend the staff about all those things. Oh, and the organisation of the sod turning. 2 weeks out we had no one. 1 week out we had the Premier. 4 days out we had the PM. So there was just so much organisation to do, we're finally we're away. So great news. Councillor Mileto.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Can I just mention that this weekend the Nublar Club have got their 25th anniversary on, and I did catch up with some people there last night, and it's planned to be the biggest one they've ever had. And I know that there are a large amount of people coming from other states all over New South Wales, and there's a lot going on. So people want to keep their eyes on the media. The Nublar Car Classic at Jack Brabham Park, which is on this Saturday, but there are a number of other events taking place. So it looks like it's going to be a very exciting and event. So if you get the opportunity, go along and have a look at it.
Yeah, totally agree, Councillor Mileto. That Nublar, there's millions of dollars worth of cars out there, cars, trucks. It's an amazing event, and it draws a lot of people to our town. And I must commend the committee, the organising committee, the volunteers, because it is a big day out there. There's lots of people get out there. And obviously the sporting clubs who have given up the grounds and all that sort of thing. Okay. Anyone else want to raise anything right before I go on the close? The Chief Executive Officer will now advise the Council if any written submissions have been received on any advertised for consideration by a closed meeting of Orange City Council.
None.
In accordance with the Local Government Act 1993 and the Local Government Act General Regulation 2021, in the opinion of the Chief Executive Officer, the following business is of a kind as referred in Section 10A2 of the Act and should be dealt with in a confidential session of the Council meeting closed to press and public. 6.1 net waste tender for collection and recycling of used mattresses is classified confidential under provision of Section 10A2C. Information that would be, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the Council is conducting or proposes to conduct business. 6.2 waiving of interest is classified confidential under the provision of Section 10A2B, the person hardship of any resident or ratepayer. 6.3 submission redaction report 6th of February 2024, if classified confidential under provision of Section 10A2E, information that would be, if disclosed, prejudice the maintenance of law. Can I have someone move and second that we move into closed section? Thanks, Councillor Floyd. Seconded by Councillor Evans. All in favour? Against? Carried.